Do you even need an email list in 2025? If you are a small farm agribusiness, a farm service provider, do you even need to send emails anymore? Is it relevant? The internet's crazy. There's artificial intelligence, there's social media networks, there's more ways to reach people than ever before. Do you even need to email? Is that a thing? It seems antiquated. Why don't we send snail mail? Well, we're going to talk about that today on the Growing Farms podcast. I am in my office. This is take number 3 of this podcast because I've tried to shoot it in other ways. Microphones didn't work. It was terrible. And I got a question from my buddy Sidney down in Texas. And he asked me that very question. John, in this year, 2025, do I need an email list to market my goods? And then I was like, Sidney, are you saying I should make a video? Because I get a lot of similar questions, and I've been working on speeding up my media production and just having a locked off shot where I can have a podcast conversation with you and upload all this stuff very quickly so that we can continue the conversation, and that community of small farm producers who are growing stuff can have that conversation, and that whole movement can grow together. And so I want to open the floor for Sidney today and respond to his question. And we're going to do it in roughly 3 parts. We're going to talk about why you would email somebody in the first place, and where does email sit in the world? And then who are you emailing? What are those customers? Is it a profitable marketing avenue? We're talking about return on investment. If you're going to take your time as a resource and apply it to this marketing effort, you want to see money back for that, because those are hours. Sometimes it's material. Sometimes you're paying for a service to host your email, and that comes with a monthly fee. All the things. There has to be a return for this investment, and we have to be able to measure it. And then I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. We can go over seasonal strategy of get into tactics. That's part 3 is tactics. Is what does that email look like? When do you send it? How many do you send? How do you know when to send an email? Can you take any of this off your plate? How do you make it easier year after year after year? And that is some good questions. And then we have some wrap-up stuff with security, deliverability, best practices, and all that stuff. So I send a lot of email. Not personally, I'm terrible. I have several email inboxes that I'm responsible for, and I'm sorry for the people that I haven't gotten back to quickly. But there's just a lot. I'm overwhelmed. So I'm starting to bring more people into my team because I can only give Farm Marketing Solutions so much time, and I've been growing it as I want to. And for today, I'm going to talk to Sidney about email lists instead of talking about myself. So Sidney, think about your email list as owning land versus renting land. With an email list and your website, those two things working hand in hand, no one can influence that. You have those lists of emails, they're going to go to somebody's inbox. You have a direct connection to your customers that you can share a message with them. That can be a community building message, that can be a brand building message, or that can be a conversion or sales message. Up to you. Different messages, different times of year. We'll get into that in a second. But owning land versus rent land, you own that email list. You can get in contact with this number of people. The little fringe for people's email addresses expire or they don't respond or whatever. But generally, you can predictably contact this group of people who has opted in, giving you permission to send them communications. And that's a beautiful thing. Rented land. Social media networks, you are the product just as much as your customer is the product. And it's up to the algorithm to put the two of you together. And you can make content, and if it doesn't hit with where that customer is in their life at that time, then it's not necessarily they're not gonna see it. And you're relying on those tech giants, which those companies they change the algorithm, they get acquired, things shift, they influence our politics and ruin the world because they're at the core run by evil billionaires. That is all the ecosystem that, you have no control over. You're renting the land, and you have a landowner, and you have a lease for a certain amount of time. They can break that lease. They could die and be gone, and then you're up in, who knows? Any scenario where you have less control over your own destiny, your messaging, your business, comes with a certain amount of risk. I'm not saying don't play the game of the social media, but today we're talking email lists. All of that baggage, all that junk, you can leave behind with your email list, and that's wonderful because you own it, and you can reach out to those customers and build that connection. Who are those customers? Where are they in your sales funnel? So the big social media giants and the internet and broad reach stuff is top of funnel. Email is middle and bottom of funnel. You're going to have generally two categories of people in your email list. The middle of funnel, opted in, they gave you a little bit of it's there giving you a taste. They, sticking that toe in the door. They want to see if you back up your claims, if they can build a relationship with you, and if they want to give you business, and then determine whether or not they want to repeat that business. So in those emails, we're going to be doing brand building and community building, where with our brand building, we're talking about our story, our farm, our practices, just finding ways to engage with our customers in short little tidbits to talk about what we're doing, how we're doing it, because it's that personal connection that you have with your farm or farm group and co-op that will help you build that relationship with the customer and get them further down the funnel towards the point of conversion where they're giving you money. You get middle of the funnel, you're building value, you're answering their objections. If they give you their email address, you can set up an automation where they'll get a series of emails that may tell, if you get sick of saying the same thing over and over again, what are those things? Here's where we're located, and who, what, where, why, when. You want to tell them the things that you've said on the website, that you say on social media, that you occasionally bring into your newsletter. You want to say that in that introductory series to reinforce your message and your brand for who you are, where you're located, how you produce things, why it's better, and where people can buy it now that they are so enthusiastic because you've done a great job with your marketing. And that can be set up automatic, so you don't have to worry. You just get them on the email list, and you know that they're getting 5 more emails, 3 more emails, and a welcome series. And most of the email providers have mechanisms for setting up an email drip series, a welcome series, a post-purchase series, but that all comes down to you're ready for this acronym? MAR Tech Stack, Marketing Tech Stack. What are the different programs that you use to do your marketing? That's your tech stack. And so we won't go further down that road because this was introductory. Now you have new customers, drip emails, you're answering objections, you're getting down to the bottom of the funnel. Let's take our email program and overlay it on one batch of chickens, because how many emails you send, what's in those emails is going to depend on the mix of your merchandising. Are you selling beef? Are you selling chicken? Are you selling lamb? Are you selling honey? Are you selling vegetables? When is it available? When is it, or when are you building anticipation up to a launch in the beginning? How are you maintaining sales throughout the season? How are you boosting sales at the end to empty out your stock so that, people are filling up their freezers and not your freezers? Maybe you could save some space or whatever your goals are, but we're just going to take it and simplify it to one batch of chickens for this video and this podcast. Batch of chickens, Cornish cross, 8 weeks. Before you get your birds, you've been collecting email addresses, friends and family to start, building it out from there. There's ways to collect more email addresses, having an opt-in on your website, being out the market, on and on and on. There's a million ways to slice this. We're beginning farmers, one batch of chickens. So we've been collecting email addresses. We're very excited. We've been building chicken tractors. The things are getting warmer outside. Spring is coming. I'm in New England. We just had snow. It's March 26th, 7th, 8th right now. It's after work sometime during the day at the end of March. And you're very excited because you've ordered your chicks. You know when your chicks are coming, and you know when your processing day is. That is fantastic. You have a schedule some pre-marketing, a couple of emails to say, hey, this is what we are gonna do, this is what we're looking forward to, this is our favorite recipe from last year, but we'll get into that later. Then the baby chicks arrive and they give you a blessing, and they are cute and they are fuzzy and they are adorable, and we're not going to talk about killing them at all. We're going to talk about how we're taking care of them, and we're showing kindness and attention and thought to our animals, and we're building that connection. For a lot of the core demographic for a lot of these small farms are like moms with kids in their 40s, like millennial moms, and younger or older, and it goes out from there. But that's a good core demographic that wants to see that you are a kind, empathetic person who is caring and tending for the food that is going to be eventually feed their family. We're not talking about it as food yet. It's just kind and fuzzy, and you're not calling out on the nose that you are kind and caring and thoughtful. You're just demonstrating it by what you do, and that is caring for your birds, showing up. And when you're doing your linger grazing and you're sitting in your brooder watching to see that your birds are all behaving well and doing and not distressed and getting water and getting feed, you pull out your cell phone and you take some photographs. Then you have some photos and videos that you can publish on social media and on your website and make a blog post. Now it's time to write that email, and you write them a short email that say, things are going great. The cute baby chicks are warm and fuzzy in the brooder, and they're gonna be in here for a few weeks before they move out to the field, and that's when the real magic happens. If you wanna see the baby chicks, you can click on this link to the blog post where we share some photographs, or click on this link to a video that we created to show you the birds in the brooder. Now, birds are getting bigger, and it comes time for move out day. Move out day is very exciting. As the birds get bigger, you can share more cute baby stuff. It depends on how much email you want to send. Move out day is a big one because you're taking them from the brooder and you're bringing them to the value that makes pastured poultry out of a building, a stationary building, out into a mobile structure, out on grass. And that is incredible because pasture raised, grass fed, any livestock, the magic happens when animals eat grass and poop on the ground. And they get away from that poop onto new grass and away from any buildup of disease, parasites, unhealthy, yada yada. You can't raise them on grass and never move them in a stationary system. That's just outdoor confinement. Movement and regular rotation, soil building, all of this is part of the story. And that's the value that makes this food very valuable because we're putting more energy into it. All those efficiencies that a conventional system squeezed out of the bird, which they outsource those expenses to humans, animals, and the environment, you're making up for that with what you're doing. We're working towards getting all of this as a cost-efficient system, and there's food availability, political conversations to be had in the future, but today we're just writing a freaking email, John. And so that when you move your birds out in the grass is fresh and green. You picked a nice warm day for them to be out there. It's not going to rain within a 24 to 48 hour period so that they don't get chilled or confused or wet. It's just, you've put so much thought into these birds. Why don't you share that with your customers? Take that photo, take that video, remember that story so that when you're going down to your office later in the cold basement, you take out, you pick your favorite photo or two, you write a blog post about how you move birds out on grass so that they are, yesterday's toilet, tomorrow's, the poop goes to yesterday's toilet and they're going to tomorrow's salad bar. And that's a big day. That's where you're adding value. Sharing that with your customers so that you're having that regular contact and showing through your actions and through your transparency that you're good on your word and you're building trust in that relationship. Now, this is where the magic happens. You talk about what the birds eat. You are what you eat. You are what you eat. You don't have to talk about how you're going to eat the bird, but those birds eat grass. They eat bugs. They scratch the ground. They pull out worms. They're helping keep the ticks out of your field because I'm in the Northeast and it's tick season. There's so many ticks. And through all that, share some stories. One email a week, be great. Just to have that regular contact, make it light and fluffy. But occasionally driving back, send one to a social media post, send one to your website. So they're used to reading your email and clicking a link and taking an action. You don't necessarily have to get them to convert and sell it on that action, unless you're doing pre-sales. Now we're getting down to processing day. We're sharing recipes. We're sharing information on where to pick it up. We're pushing one clear call to action per email. Don't have 30 links. Have one link, have 2 links. Have that link be, here's a great recipe, and if you want to reserve X number of birds today, visit our store. Blam. If you know that drumsticks sell slow, build some value into drumsticks early, so you have to put a little more energy in, because some things will sell quickly, like chicken breasts, but those drums are going to move slower. So you don't have to worry about doing a lot of marketing for boneless, skinless chicken breasts, but you do a little bit of more marketing and have some recipes for your drumsticks, so that they are a little bit more expensive. You're still talking about the chicken and the value and the protein and the tasty and the delicious, but your recipe passively is about the thing that's harder to sell. You offer all those other things, but you push that one item. I didn't mean to go on that tangent, but here we are. So you send a few emails along the way talking about your recipes, and now people know where to go, when to pick it up, how much it's going to cost because they went to the store, and all along the way you've been building value through this connection. Now it comes time to sell it. You've sold them, and your email list splits into 2 segments: people who purchased and people who didn't. People who purchased, you follow up and say, how was it? Can I have a testimonial? Do you have any pictures from dinner? People who didn't purchase, you share those testimonials, you share those success stories and say, I still have some inventory left, and here's Jane Doe, and she really enjoyed it. Here's a recipe that she shared with me. And then that might push some more people over the edge to convert and purchase a chicken. Sharing those recipes and feedback with the people who purchased might encourage them to buy more and increase the average order value or the lifetime value of your average customer. And that's a beautiful thing too. And so yes, you are in control of the conversation with your email. You can use the other platforms to host your information and then use that email as a consistent point of contact to continue to build value and drive sales. Now, I did format. I think that's it. I'm going to leave you with a ninja tactic, a guerrilla tactic for getting better at this. I threw a lot at you. This was an overview. It's going to go up as a podcast. It's also going up as a podcast video on YouTube. That's where I think if you have some feedback, questions, things you want to know more of, leave them on that YouTube video and we'll dig a little deeper. I will create more videos like this. This is going to come out as a podcast. This is a personal test for me to be able to shoot a quick video with decent audio and upload it right from my phone through my podcasting thing and have it distribute out. So Sid, if you're listening to this as a podcast, I was successful. Now that ninja trick, find other producers in your area and not in your area, or other small businesses that you like their branding, you like their messaging, you found their website, you might know them personally, and subscribe to their newsletters. You can make a little folder for it in your inbox if you need to, but subscribe to their newsletters and experience their newsletter organically the way you would if you were a customer. What's the messaging? How are they positioning their products? What are they talking about? Do you hate their formatting or do you really like it? Or do you see what platform they're using? If you are following their newsletter and they're friends of yours, or if you see them at the annual APA conference, reach out and say, I really like the way you do this. What platform do you use? How do you come up with your ideas? And through watching other professionals do what they do, you're going to pick up tips and tricks along the way. Also notice trends and update your own strategy. And that's fun. It's also an excuse to reach out to other professionals in the field to have that discussion about how we leverage digital marketing to forward our business, and at the end of the day, get more birds out on grass. I had more. I have so much more, but I'll wrap it up for today. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to the podcast. Until next time, I will see you out in the field.